Your world is falling apart. You had a relapse, you start drinking again. Now, what is important right now? It's you shouldn't torture yourself because you did it. It happened already. For some people, recovery and a relapse is actually the parts of the recovery and in general. So you can look from perspective. When I am, let's say, 2 years away, 6 months, whatever the period of time you're not drinking, it's like learning and getting to know what is the sobriety and how the sobriety looks like. So if you are being in a situation that you've been drinking for a long time and now you're trying to get better, try to work on yourself, trying to be in the place where you want to be, which is a sobriety because you don't want to drink, then it's difficult. Then it's difficult. Now, because you're gonna torture yourself right now and having all that guilt, all the regrets, it's not really gonna help you with nothing. Yes, of course, you're gonna be mad, right? Because you didn't want to be there for whatever the reason you got there, but you did not want to be there. And you're thinking, I'm not good enough, I'm not worth it. Now, let me tell you something clearly. If you're gonna be continue thinking that way, you're gonna be continue acting that way because you're thinking all the world fall apart, I'm not good enough. Well, looks like I'm never gonna be in a place when I don't want to drink. I'm always gonna be coming back to it, and so on and so on. But that is not true. No one's gonna take all that time you did away from you. You achieved it, it's yours, you have it under your belt. This is all you, okay? If you think about, okay, I did that wrong, I did this wrong, I did that one wrong, whatever, it doesn't really matter because if you look from the point what you already achieved, that is still you. You did it. You've been there. You know how it works. You know how it feels. And just because you have guilt and regrets, that means that you know that you are on the right path. Because imagine this, you're relapsing, you're drinking again, and you don't have any feelings about it. So that means, technically speaking, all the progress you could say it's not worth it, right? It was wasted. But if you're coming down to the point that you understand and see what you did and you're not happy with it and you have some reflections and you've got like second thoughts and you're very angry with yourself, well, there you go. That means that you are on the right path. There will be some people they have relapses. There will be some people they have less relapses, but everything is about getting yourself ready for the next one. In perspective, if you're gonna be getting to the point when you're not drinking again and you're gonna be overcoming or getting close to being on a relapse again, fighting in perspective, finding yourself all the tools you can use to stop it, to prevent it. Maybe you're gonna have a close miss if something like that happens as well. There are people, they've been like so close to drink again but they didn't do it. But everything, it's down to you doing the right stuff. And the right stuff is nothing else but getting, picking up them gloves for fight. Because all the stuff you did, all the stuff you're doing, it's constant fight. It's just later on you're getting better because you know how, where to move, what to do, how to recognize the problem, and you can act quickly enough. That's why definitely on the beginning when we have a people they start sobriety they have those misses, I'm missing something, that's why I relapsed. Even if you have all that knowledge that you know what to do, there's still some people doing relapses anyway. Even I know better but happen, I know better but this but that, it doesn't matter, the good thing is you have some insight, you're feeling it that that was wrong, you recognized it. Even if it happens, it happens. I mean, you can spend another 6 months on a year fighting with yourself, keep drinking and crying over that you did something wrong, or you can just you know refresh yourself, change your thinking, gather yourself together and go back again on the path you already been, which was getting you closer to the sobriety. Let's have a look, see what we can do with that. We will have to use something which will be a kind of a relapse prevention, right? But then you have to come up with some kind of a plan. The plan is how I can stop it or I can avoid it before it happens, or and technically speaking, you're seeing it's happening. And that could be anything around you. You know, the one and the very important thing is we all have different lives, we have different circumstances, we have different people around us, we have different responsibilities. Some people are just push it more for some stress situations. Some people are like, maybe isolated in perspective that they don't have much people around them. Sometimes it is something like, I got someone who can police me, right? You got like partner who's gonna be just like seeing things, and they're gonna like speaking to you about something or giving you some kind of a heads ups, or all these things are very important. That's why that strategy is very difficult, because this is not like um, one time stuff that you can put in perspective, copy and paste, right? Because someone does that, I will do that, and then that's gonna work for me because it works for everybody. No, you take a lot of various stuff, you're trying things, you're looking at things, and you see if they are working for you or not. But the thing is, you have to go and get the knowledge, you have to go and try things, you have to actually look down to yourself as well, because different people, different actions, different reactions, different personalities, and different stuff around them creates your, actions being different, your thinking is different. And we're not going to be even go down to the point if someone has a different education level, or this or that, or thinking level, whoever is smarter. And it doesn't really matter if you got a higher IQ, lower IQ, because you see, the alcohol problem, it's majority cases lies down in deception. So you might not have enough information about something, or you might have so much information about something, and you're still gonna be trying to cheat on yourself because you're gonna be, trying to manipulate yourself. Yeah, that happens too. I wouldn't say that the more intelligent people have a bigger problems with alcohol because they can justify the stuff, because everyone is justifying. All of us are trying to justify something. So we try to find a kind of a way how we can allow ourselves to do something, right? If he's gonna drink one beer, he's gonna say, "Well, it's better one than 10," and it's just like getting to the point that you have admit to something that you need to change. It's very difficult, and you need to look on perspective of time, because in majority cases you need time to get to understand or realize something, and everyone has a different time. That's why we have people which they get in somewhere faster, or they need a little bit longer. Let's say that someone was trying to stop drinking and he did it. He's not drinking right now, but he kind of realized on the way what's going on. And you might have someone who knows all the problems, know what the issues are, he knows how to fix them, but still the bond with alcohol is so strong that he can't do it. So that person, for instance, if it's a girl, if it's a boy, it doesn't really matter. That the whole thing is that your journey is your journey. There's some kind of a specifics how you're doing it, and there are tools for everybody available. But the thing is, not everything will work for you, and everyone has a different time to approach the problem. Because if let's say when I start doing my things and I start getting sober, I kind of start as well meeting some people on the way which they had a problem with drinking, and they knew way way more than on the time when I was trying to get to sober myself. And let's say in my perspective was something like I was getting them things later on during that sobriety in perspective, that I would say right now, from the time when I'm whatever I'm doing right now, I was more probably dry on the beginning rather than sober. And unconsciously, sometimes because you've been touching something, you start realizing later that you're doing something, or what the things are meaning to you and how they're working for you and how you can push them in the right direction. Or sometimes you've done something you didn't actually even know that you're doing something good, because you kind of reflecting later on your life and seeing what you did and what choices you made, and how everything actually kind of get that situation into the point later which was providing you with some benefits which they help you to stay sober. But the paths and people you meet and places you are, and depends on your decisions, you can't foresee how the outcome will look like. But without the certain knowledge and without the certain time, you're never gonna be having a kind of a chance to realize where you are and where is your point and maybe what else I should do. But never ever get yourself to the point that you have to compare yourself to the others, because that doesn't work that way. That doesn't work that way. You might have, for instance, more things which they will be helping you to keep you away from alcohol. Some people might have less. And then when you try to compare yourself to others, that could be very tough because you might not actually know all the details, because the people maybe sometimes they don't like share everything. So you should really take some informations as well, a little bit with a pinch of salt, to be fair. Like, okay, I know there's some info somewhere, but well, maybe not everything looks like, as much as rosy in the garden when they saying, or maybe it's not gonna be like you do, yeah, like A, B, C, D, you're gonna be at Y, X, Z, but eventually when you start doing something yourself, it doesn't actually look that, because your perspective, your situation could be totally different. So, what I would like to look on the first thing from my perspective is self care. That's how I would like to call it. Um, you need to be selfish. You need to be selfish. You have to look on your side, on what is more important to you to keep you away from alcohol. So if that means that you're not going to attend some meetings with some certain people, they would like to see you because it's going to be alcohol there, even if it's like kind of a family meeting, for instance. It's fine. It's okay. I'm not ready yet. And in majority cases, you don't know when you're going to be ready, right? Because you know when you're ready, when you feel you're ready. But the truth is, on the beginning, you're definitely not, especially when you had a relapse, right? Because you're like kind of a novice right now. I know I did some time when I did not drink, but now I drink something, I touch something, so now I try to stay away from it. So that means I definitely don't want to be in the places which they might do some triggers and definitely push me to it. Especially if I'm getting clean back again in perspective that I want to stay sober, and I know that this is the part of the journey. I need to be selfish. I mean, it's fine. Someone, definitely gonna be in a place that they're not happy because you haven't come somewhere, you haven't done something. But if you know the alcohol is involved in that, you don't want to be there. All right, because there's a high chance that you're gonna fall back to the place when you don't want to be. And technically speaking, the people you might been in perspective of meeting before, maybe they did not have any problem with alcohol, in perspective that they can drink some and they stay away from it, and then for them it doesn't really matter if they drink, they don't drink. But you know exactly how it works for you. Once you probably touch the surface, then you're gonna be like, couldn't be able to detach yourself from something. So you're gonna be totally attached, and you don't want that, because this is actually something which is destroying you. So you can imagine, like in the airplane, right? You're doing the flight, and when the gas, the oxygen masks, the gas masks are coming up. What do they say first? Put the masks around your face yourself as a parent, and then take care of the kids. Why? Because if you're gonna put the mask over others first, there's a high possibility that you're gonna lose the conscience, right? And you're just supposed to be that command center. You're supposed to be that person who takes in charge and perspective. So I need to take care of myself first, and then I'm jumping you. Then I'm jumping on you because I need to make sure I am doing the things right. And the same is here. You have to look on yourself first. The others be fine. It's okay. I know they might not be happy because you're gonna miss one, kind of a birthday or some kind of a business party, or stuff like that, or whatever, whatever. Self care. You need to be selfish. Okay. Are you gonna be ready? Nobody knows that. When you're gonna be ready, nobody knows that. But remember as well that sometimes you can leave the places. If you don't feel uncomfortable, leave it. I mean, let's say it's gonna be the case of, okay, fair enough. I think I'm ready, right? So you go to that place, there's alcohol all over the place. I mean, the family or whatever, you can't just like, ditch them, dump them, skip them. But you can always leave at some point. If you don't feel uncomfortable, just leave it. Just leave it, because that might lead you to the point when you don't want to be. You can always kind of, maybe that's not nice, but you can always fake something. You don't feel well, you would like to go home or whatever, rested. You might just come up with some kind of a little story. But still, you will create the situation that you will self care yourself. So you see it's coming. I need to ditch it. I need to ditch it. I need to go away. I need to just skip it. I need to dump it. I got no choice. I'm not ready yet. When you're gonna be ready, nobody knows. But better prevent it than trying to keep fighting, and eventually might be the situation that you're gonna be in the point that it's like, okay, I've been fighting with myself, all the alcohol is around me, and maybe you're not gonna touch it on that specific party, but maybe it's gonna be the point that you're gonna be going back home, and on the way you will stop by the shop and you will buy some, and you know, again, we are in a point when regrets, again the relapse, again fight, again struggle. That's the only thing you can do. You can prevent, you can self-care, you can be selfish, and that selfish will work. Trust me, it worked for me many times, and it does work for others. Once they try doing something like that, it does work. It really, really does work. Second stuff, meditation. Right, I'm not saying that everyone's supposed to go right now into the woods and find a quiet place and just get yourself together into the nature stuff, but it's not a bad idea. Some people doing it. But what we're looking at this, that meditation and perspective, that you need to get the time for yourself, and perspective that you need to get somewhere when you can be quiet with yourself. Because you see, if you got all these things around you which they making you busy and making you kind of overcrowded in perspective of the things which they being jumped on you, whatever that is, when you find yourself a space when you can escape, right, in perspective of meditate, even that could be something like that you like to do something which switches you off, and that is very important. So you switched off. Once you switched off, you have a chance to reset. Exactly. So that's another thing. It's just because we're so busy right now. We keep running, doing things. Life, around these days is completely massively busy. Our work hours being extended. There's not many happy people around which they actually working 8 hours, shift, and they going home as a happy Larry. Some places right now, people working for 10, 12 hours plus. On top of that, you need to commute. So technically speaking, even that break at work does not give you that kind of a, easy reset, because you're still probably sitting somewhere with some people in a canteen. So you're just looking for that place when you would like to be only with yourself. And sometimes instead of going to quiet place, maybe you can do something which does create something like that you can switch off. So you so concentrate on doing something which does not actually get you into the point that you have to overthink this, you know. And for some people, it's a different story. Someone like to go to that wood or whatever, to that kind of a place when you can maybe you go in for running, maybe you go in for walk, maybe you just like do something which completely, I don't know, maybe you're reading a book. So anything like that will be something which can give you a chance to reset and a rest, because that meditation equals a rest as well, because you're resting in that perspective. You're not doing something. You don't have to think about all these things which they are queuing in your head, because you need to take care of this. I got kids, I got wife, I got this. I need to repair the car. I need to do that, and you become overloaded, and that creates another situation which that could be another trigger, because you're trying to find relaxation. And what many people does when they drink to relax, right, to numb myself. I have to go away from some pain for this or that. But sometimes you can use that little meditation in terms of spending the time with yourself for a while, just to clear your head up. So then you actually will see that this time when you're gonna spend it on yourself for that kind of a meditation tinny, whatever is you do in your life, that gives you some kind of a You know, if you're lucky, if you find an hour, great. If you find half an hour, 15, 20 minutes, whatever that is, it's very important because that gives you a chance to reset your batteries. Number three, I will look on isolation. Okay, there's some people, they have families, but then still you can feel within your household like you by yourself with your alcohol problem, right? Because not everyone is built to read other people emotions to understand when they are. So then in many places you can see people drinking and they having like anxieties, right? And all that is because of the top of everything, you thinking like the some kind of outcast. I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, I'm just struggling with that. I don't know how to cope with this. No one around me actually, the people, they don't really give a damn. Maybe they thinking like, they will tell you, anyone who doesn't have any problems with alcohol will tell you, just stop drinking, you'll be fine. Really? You and I, we know that it doesn't work that way. There's always something hidden. There is always, everyone has a different kind of a triggers towards it. And your isolation, it creates the situation that you're thinking that you're by yourself. And it's getting to the point when you're thinking something wrong with you. Why? It's nothing wrong with you. It's just not everyone is wired and built the same way, right? Some people are more emotional, some people are like, like cold stone, hard kind of a metal that you can throw anything at them and they don't, even bend, don't even shake, you don't see any kind of a damage to the out surface, whatever. And some people are kind of a softer. They thinking, they have a difficulty to get themselves together, pack up together all the things, especially when there's a relapse that might take pretty much longer time to get it right. You've got the fighters, you got lovers, there's many personalities, many people. But what I'm saying is, the isolation could be the bigger problem as well because you're thinking that you're by yourself. So when you're gonna, for instance, find some group of people, right? So you can join some groups, see there's others. Internet today, it could be the bad thing, depends how you use it, but it could be very good thing because then you will get to the point you will understand the others like you. All right. So once you getting close to them, some of them are sharing what the problem's been, and maybe you have some similarities. Maybe you can find some ways. Maybe you can take whatever they've been doing and just like mold it a little bit towards it, change some stuff, use some stuff which might help you. For instance, there's some people they sharing things. There's some people they don't share stuff because they, kind of a feel like in perspective they ashamed of something. I can tell you one thing. Maybe you should feel ashamed in a moment when you kind of a drinking, you have a problem and you fight it with it and you don't want to do something with it. But in a moment when you are the person who try to get yourself on a sobriety way, get yourself clean, clean up your life, change things around yourself. That's something you shouldn't be ashamed of. That's something you're supposed to be proud of. Okay? Because you're trying to change something. And as I said before, some people have a kind of a easy going with stuff. Some people have more difficulties. Some people need to figure out some things. Some people need more time to understand something. But it doesn't matter. You're trying to do something. And the most important part is later that you start understanding I am not by myself. There's more people like me. So then you start understanding that you're not isolated anymore. Maybe your loved ones cannot understand what you try to go through and they don't see it because then, let's say they don't struggle with it as you do, right? You might have many times there is like, people living in a partnerships. You have one person who tried to stop drinking, he tried to quit, he tried to get sober or dry or whatever that is. And then the partner of that person, for instance, doesn't really care, or maybe they even haven't left from you because you try to like share it with them that you would like to stop. I don't see this working for me anymore. I don't feel well with that. I'm not comfortable. But then, the other side doesn't really care. Even if you being in a position that you have easy triggered or stuff like that, when you see some alcohol around you, you can help it. And you're trying to stay away from it, but someone keeps stashing alcohol in your fridge anyway, right? Very close, thing to be there. But then, in perspective, to be there, in perspective that you're gonna start drinking again because it can't be any closer than that right now. Yeah, I can't even go nowhere. I can't rethink the situation like going let's say I have some kind of a urging triggers going that I would like to maybe drink, maybe don't drink, and now I have to go out and go to the shop and buy something and come back. So maybe on the way when I'm going it, I can actually change my mind and go back home and get myself out of the thinking for the alcohol. But then you have a partner that comes over, he brings the stashes stuff in the fridge, and there you go. But when you get to the point when you start looking outside of your circle, outside of your, household zone, there are others. All right? You can get a contact with some people, talk to someone. They might tell you their stories, or maybe you can read their stories. Try to create some kind of a circle around you, the people which they doing what you try to do, and you will start getting informations. The informations will be way useful for you, because let's face it, you've been drinking so far, now you try not to drink. How am I supposed to get the informations from, right? Where? How? Not everyone has a chance to go to AA meetings. I get that, I understand that. you know Maybe your job is for so many hours that you have to provide, the food on the plate, and you just can't ditch it. You can't ditch the job. You have to, uh, do the stuff. Let's say that you main supporter, that you bring the most money into the household. You're the one who's gonna bring the bacon, for instance, and now you cannot just skip the hours of work because there's some meeting. It could be like this, and you can't join AA meetings and stuff. But these days we have something great. We have internet. You can use that. Get the support from other people. Get join someone. Maybe you're gonna see some people doing lives. You can ask the questions. You don't have to actively be there with them. You can ask some questions in comments. They might answer some questions, right? So, or for instance, you can jump on some kind of a, on a Google store, you can find some apps when people sharing, so you can see actually you're not isolated in that perspective, because you're not by yourself. There are others. They're struggling. Some people share, some people don't share. In some apps, probably you will have to pay for something. But let's say that you don't have, money is tight. I don't have a money. There's still some places in apps when you don't have to pay for something, and you still have, all you have to do just a little research, right? Type somewhere about the apps for the alcohol issues, problems, or whatever in a Play Store. You'll find something. You'll definitely find something. There's some free places that you can. Not everyone has a situation that they have communities. Some of them, they have communities. You have to pay a little bit. Maybe there is important. Maybe there will be like not bad idea to pay for something to get kind of a, um wider option of getting somewhere to see some, people sharing in a communities and stuff. I don't know, that's going to be pretty much, personal choice. But still, that's how you can kind of create that isolation, not isolation, because the end of the day you will understand you're not by yourself. And maybe going through some, you know um people and the situations, maybe you will eventually find your own way. But that will be very beneficial, because you're gonna have a bigger knowledge. So you can go through kind of a sobriety trying to do everything yourself, but then when you get contact with someone, then you might have something which will give you a chance to save your time, because you're not going to be repeating mistakes of other people which they've been exactly in the same situation as you've been, which is nothing else but being kind of dependent on alcohol itself. Number four, I will go for a kind of active relaxation. So we're talking about some physical movement, which is not bad idea. If you think about everything you're doing in life and you're getting pressurized about this and that, all these responsibilities, you know, everything which you are involved with, kids, family, all the things around you. I mean, everyone these days gets some kind of a stressed life. It's just because we have less time for ourselves. So sometimes it's good to find some kind of active relaxation in terms that I have to release it. So sometimes you can do like we've done on a number two meditation, but actively might work for you in perspective that when you actually physically get yourself tired, so you can burst all that load, that burden, that everything which creates the problems, can you can actually sweat it out, you can burst it out. So some kind of a physical movement, walking, running, all the stuff. Not everyone can join the gym, I got that, but sometimes you can create yourself like a little spot for your home gym, you know? It doesn't have to be expensive, or even doing some kind of a calisthenics, anything like that. It's kind of a movement. This is your time. This is something for yourself. And you can see that all that together comes down to the point of when I'm doing self care. Because imagine this, I'm drinking, I got out of the shape, I don't eat well, I don't sleep well, I don't do the damn things right. But then when you get clean, you will find out as well in many cases that you will have some spare time. It is like this. It is like this because the time that's the thing. The people who they drinking, they don't see how much time they spending drinking, and then everything is all going always to be pushed around drinking. So whatever you're planning quickly, so you make sure you're gonna drink, right? So I need to have time to drink. So whatever it is, you're gonna prioritize drinking first. Now, when you don't drink, now suddenly that time is available. So what you can do, well, I can use it for that, for some kind of a physical activity. And I like to call it like physical relaxation because, thing is, it doesn't have to be the gym, it doesn't have to be the weights, it could be anything like that, anything which makes you get you sweat. Maybe you even jump on a bike and you go and as a push bike that you go and cycle somewhere, do something. I mean, just like get in the way. I know this is very important. This is the kind of a self-care, selfishness. This is kind of um you know a meditation, relaxation, and kind of a as well, putting together isolation as an all four things together working, because if you can see they can actually nice and tangle and split each other, and you can easily and nicely use that, right? Walking is good, running is good, lifting weights is good, anything like doing something for yourself. At the end of the day, you understand that you finding your time for yourself and all these things you do in it, they actually nothing else by being beneficial, killing the boredom, um, relaxing you, a kind of a releasing all that stress, pushing away all them problems. Sometimes, like, if you have a good sleep because you don't drink, right? I go to sleep, I will sleep nice 6, 7 hours. And let's say you're going to sleep sober, you didn't drink. On the next day, you fresh up. So let's say the day before you have some problems. You need to figure out something, you have to fix something, but you don't have a clue how to do it. In some cases, when you go to sleep for 6, 7 hours, you're waking up in the morning and you're kind of coming up with idea, oh, I know how to do that. It's just because you've been relaxed, your body slept well, your brain kind of recovered, your body recovered, so your thinking is better. You know, when you start doing your activities as well, if you have a chance to get outside, you'll get fresh air, right? They imagine before when you've been kind of drinking, so you've been maybe you've been the person who was like locked up in a house and you just keep drinking in that stinky environment. Everything around you did not really matter. Maybe you had like TV on, maybe you've been playing some games and stuff on the computer. I mean, whatever people doing these days, it doesn't really matter. Or maybe sitting by the YouTube, watching the YouTube, drinking some kind of a stuff that wasn't even beneficial for you. It's a free choice. I understand that. I'm not judging nobody because everyone comes from a different environment, places, situations. But you can see how much can change, how much is more beneficial for you. All this drinking as well, in isolation, for instance, um, gets to the point that we are isolating ourselves by drinking alcohol because even the loved ones don't want to deal with us anymore, right? But then the same is like when you relapse. You relapse, your loved ones are already afraid of, because let's say you've been 6 months away from drinking, a year from drinking, 2 years you've been cleaned up. Now you start drinking, everyone is being mad with you because they're afraid that you're gonna go back to the old that hell you've been providing for them in the past. But the trick is that once you're gonna get back again, back on the wagon, back on the horse of sobriety, the trust and everything can be regained again. Then people will start love you again because they do love you. They do love you. They're angry with you because they love you and they take care of you. They're really taking care of you and in perspective that they care for you. and they're not happy because they see that something's bad is happening to you, and you're changing to that person which they don't want to be around. That's create that isolation as well. But when you don't drink, you kind of killing that isolation. So there's a lot of stuff to think through. There is a lot of stuff to try. That's important. You have to keep trying things. Keep trying things, see what's working for you. All right. So that's very important because that can change the situation. I mean, imagine like you've been drinking, now you stop drinking, you don't drink. Look how that 6 months looked like. It was great, right? You know it because you feel it inside. Nothing can buy that 6 months. And then when you look back to that 6 months, you're thinking, oh my God, that was the best 6 months of my life because I haven't been drinking. That's exactly how that's supposed to work. So that gives you that kind of a urge towards going not to drink because you want to be back again in that lovely place where you've been before, which is called sobriety. The last thing I would say, and you can use that as a tool, write about your day. Before you go to sleep, buy yourself some kind of a notepad, whatever book, whatever you want to fill up with the words, and just write it how your day went. You know, quick reflection, in a position where you've been today. What was happened to you? Maybe you've been close to again to maybe touch that drink. And what was the situation? What I can change? What I can avoid? you know Taking in consideration that you have all these, you know any other informations from other people because you try to reach somewhere, see something, talk to someone, maybe read about something. Books are very good, are great, but you can write a little bit for yourself. And then, you know every night you can always come back somewhere, see something, and kind of a reread it to see your whole weekly progress, for instance. Well, majority cases on the weekend, people have a little bit more time because work probably Monday, Friday, or Saturday or whatever. But then you got like something that you can actually, you'll find it. You'll find it because you don't drink. So you got right now time to do things like that, right? Because the time you've been spending for drinking, now you have a time which actually celebrates in perspective that you can do something with it. So this is again the time for yourself, right? This is your again the kind of a type of meditation and perspective that you can spend some time with you. You can write about the things within your day. It doesn't have to be long, essay or something. There could be little tiny story, few sentence there, and then you can always go back to it, read again, and you have a chance to reflect because you see your kind of a your growth, your kind of a journey. You can see your path. You can see your route 66, I will call it, right? It's going to be your route 66 in terms of I want to just drive there. I want to see how I'm doing. I want to see what I have to be careful about, what I have to avoid, what I have to just anything, because you can listen to others, but you're supposed to listen to yourself as well. Okay, in perspective that you actually writing something, write it fresh. Don't wait. Try to write every day. Little bit, spend 10-15 minutes, whatever. Just write some message for yourself. Or maybe you can write a message for yourself so you can read it on the next day on the evening. And this is all the part of you getting sober, getting better, because that's what you're looking for. If you got to the point that you're looking on some kind of a videos, which a kind of a people like me doing it, that means you're already looking for some answers. You've got questions, and you should be proud of yourself because you start looking for some answers. You've got questions. Maybe you didn't have enough people around you to show you what to do. So you start looking outside of your circle. And that's exactly how that's supposed to be. You're not by yourself. There's more of us. There's more people struggling, more people looking for some answer. There's no one answer for this, unfortunately. But everyone can find the answer. The answer which will, at the end of the day, suit just you. I really hope this video was beneficial for you. If you're interested with more, you know what to do.